Hello, my name is Annette DeFavre, and I'd like to welcome you to the BC Library Association's Summer Conference. This session is part of our 2020 virtual webinar series titled The Conversation Continues. BCLA is privileged to have our office and to be presenting the 2020 Summer Conference from the city of Vancouver, which is located on the unceded territory of the Coast Salish people, including the territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh nations. We had an amazing program of speakers lined up for BCLA's 2020 annual in-person conference. And when we couldn't go ahead with that conference, we asked presenters if they would share virtually some of the fantastic ideas and work they had prepared for that conference. This was an opportunity for BCLA to join with presenters and to help contribute to the professional learning of our library community. Thank you to all our presenters who were able to commit the time and effort to transform their presentations into an online format. Today's session is presented by Jen Streckmann and is titled The Roots of Reading, a Digital Early Literacy Project. Jen began her career in libraries in 2013 and has worked her way through various circulation and tech positions over the last 6 years. After graduating from the University of British Columbia in 2016, Jen focused her career on children and families and has been part of an exciting early literacy projects such as VPL's The Roots of Reading. Jen is currently working as a children's librarian at the Mount Pleasant branch of the Vancouver Public Library. Welcome, Jen, and let me turn this session over to you now. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Annette. So I just want to say thank you so much for digitally attending this session. Today I'm going to lead you through a practical look at how our library system created digital content to support one of our core children's programs. The next approximately 40 minutes will be a kind of case study of this project, and I've included my contact information at the end if you have any questions. So one of the main goals of children's librarians working all across Vancouver is that children and their caregivers have access to programs and materials which stimulate, encourage, and extend their child's early literacy skills. But that access, for the most part, depends on people walking into the physical space of the library. So think about this question for a second. Have you ever felt nervous about going somewhere with a group of people for the first time? Have you ever completely forgotten about an appointment? And have you ever been late due to traffic or transit? I'm guessing most of us would answer yes to one or more of these questions, and that's without 2 toddlers in tow. So realistically, not a lot of us are always making it to story time at the library every week. Add to that the fact that if English is your second language, you may have a hard time remembering or understanding the song lyrics. Sleep schedules, transit routes, and other barriers we may not know about all contribute to the fact that it is a feat to leave your house with a baby or toddler, let alone get to a specific location on time. So what makes library storytime different from storytime at a community center, a neighborhood house, or other public venue? And if you were thinking the early literacy tips, you would be right. So the library should be the go-to venue for literacy advice. Research-based tips should be woven into storytime by experienced staff who are able to demonstrate practical skills during storytime. We want people to associate the library with professional, educated staff. The library is one of the last places where a family can walk in the door and get a one-on-one help for their child from a skilled professional without an appointment. We need to set ourselves apart from other organizations who do free or low-cost story times. And we do that through literacy education. Many staff over the years have floated the idea of digital content to support story times at one time or another. Last year, we finally had the opportunity to do so. We decided to use the ease of access that digital content provides and combine that with a focus on research-based early literacy tips. And the Roots of Reading was born. So I'm going to show you a few now so that you have a sense of what I'll be talking about. And under Vancouver Public Library's YouTube channel, we have 3 series under the Roots of Reading. We have Songs and Rhymes, which is fairly self-explanatory, Make and Takes, which are literacy-based crafts, and Every Child Ready to Read, which is information on the 5 pillars of early literacy according to ECRR. And I encourage you to check them out after the session. I've included 2 of our Songs and Rhymes videos here just to kind of give you a taste.
Hi, welcome to Vancouver Public Library's The Roots of Reading. Wake Up Feet is a great way to help babies notice different parts of their bodies. For toddlers, it's a great way to label less common body parts and to get them up and moving. This song works on gross motor skills, moving arms and legs, and fine motor skills with pointing and grabbing. These will be important later on for things like turning the pages in a book or writing. Let's try. Wake up feet, wake up feet, wake up feet and wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Wake up feet, wake up feet, wake up feet in the morning. Now let's do hands. Wake up hands, wake up hands, wake up hands and wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Wake up hands, wake up hands, wake up hands in the morning. You can move on to ears, nose, legs, and I like to end with a tickle on the tummy. Thanks for watching.
Hi, welcome to Vancouver Public Library's The Roots of Reading. Playing ball games like this can help your baby develop their motor and visual skills, which are both important for learning to read later on. When you're singing to your baby, you can substitute their name into the song. Here we go. I roll the ball to baby, she rolls it back to me. I roll the ball to baby, she rolls it back to me. Roll the ball, roll the ball, roll the ball, roll the ball. I roll the ball to baby, she rolls it back to me. Thanks for watching.
So we know that we're not the first ones to put storytime content online. I personally was supported by so many amazing resources like Jaybrary when I was a younger librarian. And many public library systems like Burnaby and King County all have really, really amazing resources online. So why did we want to do it too? And the value for us was in having the faces of our children's librarians be the ones delivering the content. We wanted to build a connection with the library with this resource. We talk about that a lot, wanting to build a connection to the library for our patrons. But many patrons build connections with staff. They hope that a certain person is at the desk or available to help them with the computer because they feel connected to those staff members. The Roots of Reading familiarizes people with VPL's children's librarians, either before they step foot in the library or after they've gone to their local branch for baby time. A lot of caregivers that watch the videos with their children have often said that their child gets excited when they recognize the librarian in the video. So let's get down to how we actually did this thing. So the project was completed in about 4 months of 2 shifts per week. Most of the time it was just me working on it, although we did have other staff come in for 4-hour filming shifts. We received a BC provincial grant for $5,000, and that's how the initial money was found. I believe there were also some additional funds from the Children's Library put towards staff time as well. You could do this project with a range of cost. I was an auxiliary librarian, so my shifts were only dedicated to this project. We also printed promotional material with grant money and paid for extra hours for our marketing department. In the future, the cost of any further videos would be absorbed by the Children's Department at VPL. And technically, a project of this size could be given to someone who already had full-time hours, which would cut the cost significantly. All of the equipment and recording software that we used was available from our central library. So we were fortunate enough to be able to use the equipment we already had, so that cost did not factor into the project. We used a green screen, 4 large lights, a good digital camera, and a lapel mic. And I edited the videos in Adobe Premiere Pro. You could also use Windows Movie Maker or iMovie or another free program if you wanted to. This slide shows some of the resources that I used when learning what the heck I was doing. So YouTube videos are really good for brief technical details like how to export a file properly or how to light a green screen, which is actually really, really difficult. We have access to lynda.com through VPL, and I watched these courses for an intro to Premiere Pro. I wasn't that familiar with the program, and when you first open up that Premiere Pro screen, it's quite intimidating. I wanted to make sure that I didn't miss an easy way to do something or an important part of editing, and lynda.com is great for that. Of course, colleagues are always the best resource, and I had a lot of people help me with the recording and editing process. So this was our timeline. Before we began doing any work on this project, I completed an analysis of other resources that are similar to what we were trying to create. I looked at Jayberry, Burnaby Public Library's amazing videos, and collections like King County's hundreds of videos. I looked at overall content, early literacy messaging, video components, and visual appeal. Next up, I identified the priorities and the content. So we came up with a framework and guidelines for the videos. Some important aspects were that the videos were short, jargon-free, and welcoming to children and families of all abilities. We also found that while there are channels and videos that showcase early literacy activities, they don't necessarily connect the songs, craft, or rhymes to the research behind how this activity is actually supporting their child's early literacy development. This is something we really wanted to focus on, and therefore there's an early literacy tip in every video. So then the number of videos, and this depends on a wide variety of factors. So given the budget and time frame for the videos, we decided on an initial run of 30, grouped into our 3 categories. So we have songs and rhymes, make and takes, and every child ready to read. We figured that we could shoot about 3 videos in one morning session, and I'll talk a little bit more about that later, but each video usually took about 5 or 6 takes to get a perfect take, and we had about an hour and a half for each session. So then we were looking to assemble the content, and for that I put out a call to every children's librarian at VPL. We were looking for diverse and local content that reflected Vancouver's diverse communities. We wanted some that incorporated props like scarves or shakers, some that could be done all on their own, and most that could be adapted for different ages and abilities. The mountain background that you saw in the clips that we showed was chosen from iStock, which is a web database of background and image files for sale. The music was from SoundCloud's royalty-free music collection. So this is a huge collection that you can use without even asking the artist, but you have to credit them in the notes field of YouTube. I was in constant communication with our marketing department for these pieces of the videos, and they created some of the great graphics like the intro design. So then we filmed, and then after that we edited and uploaded. I'm not sure if you can see that box. So after the filming, all the clips were edited together in Adobe Premiere Pro, and the final videos were uploaded to VPL's YouTube channel. The details. Be flexible, definitely. Because of some green screen drama that I will dig into a bit later, we brought staff in really early at 7 a.m. to shoot. So flexibility of staff time was imperative for this project. Our usual shifts are 8:30 to 5, and the library opens at 10. So I arrived at 7 every filming day, and the person who was being filmed arrived at 7:30. We had until about 8:45 before people were wheeling trucks all over the place and fixing photocopiers and testing alarm bells and all the other audio interference you could think of. Keep it short. So people lose interest very quickly when watching videos online, Keep the intros and outros short. Ours is 7 seconds, and even that seems too long when you're watching them over and over again. So definitely keep those intros short. Staff were asked to read over and memorize their scripts before they came in, but the short times of the videos kind of made it easy for staff to remember their lines. Even so, you'll notice a lot of our subjects are looking down at the script taped below the camera, and then eyes flick back up to the camera. So asking busy children's librarians to memorize their lines completely simply isn't practical. So definitely keep those videos short. And give staff time to learn. So this is somewhat about me, but staff don't need to know how to use the programs, but they do need time to learn. So it took a large majority of my first few shifts with Premiere Pro to learn how to assemble and create videos. And then standardize. So we wanted these videos to look like a collection and to look professional. Therefore, we wanted all the thumbnails to match. And this is something to keep in mind if you're filming using natural light. So we had thought about filming by a really big, beautiful window in the children's library, but time of year and time of day are really going to affect the light, and it would make all of the thumbnails look different. We would have to adjust the white balance and ensure people looked like they were filming in the same sessions. So overall, we found it easier to simply use the ambient lighting in the library, as well as the 4 lighting stands and a green screen. Challenges. There were many. So green screen drama. When we realized that the time of day and the season would affect the lighting conditions and make every thumbnail look different, we finally decided on green screen, as we felt it was the only way to have a professional, consistent look. Our central branch at Vancouver Public Library has an area called the Inspiration Lab, where we have specialized audio-video equipment and recording studios. There's a soundproof room with a green screen. So you would think that this would be perfect, right? Well, we tested filming there, and it turns out this didn't actually work for us for a variety of reasons. First, the green screen didn't go all the way down to the floor, as you can see in the picture there. And oftentimes staff would be sitting in chairs to do their song, which would show the floor of the room. And second, this room was incredibly dark, and lighting is incredibly difficult. With the amount of people we would need to film in a short amount of time, it was easier to film in the ambient lighting outside the room than risk people looking kind of like a kid at the campfire shining a flashlight in their face. So luckily, one of the large walls right outside of the Inspiration Lab was painted a bright green, same as the green screen. So we were able to use this wall. This meant that because we were outside of the soundproof room, we had to shoot really early in the morning before people started setting up the library for opening. It did end up looking good, but it was a lot of rescheduling and trying different things out. And yes, flexible scheduling. So that is always a challenge. Asking people to come in early is not easy. And there's a few librarians kind of looking a little bit bleary-eyed in the videos, but it was the only way to make it work. And ultimately it did turn out. Equipment. So when filming, there will always be equipment troubles you have to allow time for this. So I filmed a whole set of videos with the mic turned off, which I realized after. If someone was wearing glasses, the lights would reflect in them so you couldn't see their eyes. And I had to create a whole new drive for the library to hold our video files. So working through these issues takes time, and they will come up. Time to learn. Yes, so I mentioned this before, but it took me a lot of time to simply learn how to do this. There are a million things that you might need to watch a how-to video on, from editing out green screen in a natural way to figuring out the best file format to export out. And I spent a few entire 8-hour shifts just working through a few issues. Memorizing lines. I sent the scripts out about a month before staff were filmed. And every morning someone would come in and they would say, I looked at the scripts, but I wouldn't say that I have them memorized. So I printed out the lines in 20-point Arial bold font and taped them below the camera. So I think you can kind of see people's eyes flickering down, but ultimately it did work out to have it just taped right below the lens. And the best videos were done by people who felt comfortable and confident in front of the camera. And people felt more confident and comfortable when they knew their lines. So when I sent out the initial call out for staff to be filmed, it was to whoever was interested. And through that self-selection, you kind of get the people that perhaps might feel a bit more comfortable and confident in front of the camera. You don't want to be forcing staff to film videos for YouTube if they don't want to do it. You need them to self-select that one. And finally, communication. So one of the major aspects of this project is that it involved communicating with multiple departments at the library, specifically digital services and marketing. And depending on the size of your library, this could be more or less difficult. VPL is quite large, so making sure that everyone was on the same page and schedule was a little bit of a challenge. All right, so technical difficulties to look out for if you are doing this project. Website capabilities. So for the Roots of Reading, patrons can access the videos through our website or by searching in YouTube. Our website didn't have the capacity to embed 40 videos on 3 pages, so we opted to use YouTube. And this does increase findability for people who may only search on YouTube, but it also means that we're using an outside platform, and originally we wanted people to stay on our website. We went through quite a few iterations of what the website page might look like in order to decrease the amount of clicks needed to get to the videos themselves. So that took a bit of work. The microphone. Audio is hard, and some people speak very quietly, some have big voices, and I ended up writing out a whole document checklist for the little things that I needed to check before filming. And in hindsight, I should have done this at the very beginning. I had multiple documents that were very detailed on certain settings and file formats, and I would highly recommend writing it all down for your particular equipment as a reference guide in case anyone needs to duplicate it or make more videos. And lighting. So this is the piece that takes the most time when setting up for filming. When using a green screen, you can't have shadows on the background. However, you also need to be able to light the person's face from the front. It's very difficult, and it took me a while to get confident with this. Pluses. It's not all hard. These are what we gained from this project. So the first one is build staff capacity, and the Roots of Reading was a first for many staff. It has a place on the resumes of a lot of people involved. Whether it was speaking in front of a camera for the first time or learning a new software, this project has built staff capacity in a way that makes me confident we could make more videos in the future. Foster creativity. So I was given the project and an end goal, but how I got to that goal was up to me. I was really, really excited about this project because I had been given so much freedom. Of course, I was helped by marketing to make sure that what I created didn't look terrible, and digital services made sure that the website page would actually work. But for the most part, I was the one that got to make the decisions, and it made me a lot more invested in the project. There's no doubt that the staff who came in the morning to film had a great time. Everyone was excited about this. People were nervous, but for the most part, it was really, really fun, and everyone was very, very excited to see the final result. Personal gain. So a new technical skill set. When I was asked to lead the Roots of Reading, I had been an auxiliary librarian for 1 year. And although I was somewhat familiar with the Adobe suite, I was far from an expert. On this project, I learned all the ins and outs of green screen and audiovisual editing. I learned how to effectively light a set and how to encourage people when they were nervous. I gained valuable project management experience, which I can use in the future to apply for supervisory or management positions. I communicated with departments like digital services and marketing for the first time and gained experience with planning timelines and booking staff. Presentation practice. Well, I'm here presenting for BCLA digitally. I presented this for OLA a few, maybe 6 months ago. And these are my first library conference presentations. So I wouldn't be here if I wasn't given this project, and it's really kind of given me a boost. And departmental coordination, which I talked about a little bit earlier. And confidence. So when I was first given this project, I felt like it was a very big deal and wondered whether someone with no visual branding experience and barely any audiovisual recording skills could pull this off. But I was given the time to learn, all the skills that I needed, and the end result was something that I think looks and sounds great. So honestly, this project has given my resume a huge boost, and I reference it often. Giving someone on your staff a project like the Roots of Reading is an opportunity for them to really grow. So, some staff feedback. So in talking to our children's staff, 100% of them mention this resource during a session of story time, so during a run of story times. Newer staff, so staff that are newer to VPL, have used the resource to develop their own skills. And we also find it useful when speaking with early childhood educators. So it's been featured on a couple ECE websites. We use it at our conference as a handy resource to kind of take home when attendees are overloaded with information. And it also won an ALA award last year, so that's exciting as well. But what really matters? The public feedback. So most of the comments that we've received were from patrons saying that they or their kids really liked seeing their local librarian in the videos. We've had a mom say that the Roots of Reading has helped her become confident singing the songs she hears in story time. And another patron who said it helps her feel less guilty when they don't make it to story time. Apparently, there's also a Korean parents group that uses it in Burnaby, which is the next city over, so that's pretty exciting too. So our promotion. So to promote this new resource, we had our marketing department make up posters and little postcards with information about the Roots of Reading on one side, which you can see on the screen, and then a little coloring activity for the little ones on the other. And up on the slide is a long list of programs that are supported by the Roots of Reading. Internally, I sent out a promotional guide to the entire children's department when we launched the videos, essentially just telling people what it was and why we made it. Evaluation and moving forward. So we're currently in the process of evaluating the project to find out if the success warrants making more videos or adding digital content to supplement some of our other programs. And when I first created this presentation to give at BCLA, since that we've obviously done quite a bit more digital content for the website. So having this as a foundation in these recent times has been quite useful. So we found out that the average time people are spending on the videos is 58 seconds. Most of them are a little bit over a minute, but 58 seconds is how long people are sticking with them. So clearly, shorter is better. Also, it's become quite apparent that the songs and rhymes are the most popular category. So here on the graph, you can just see the average views per video. So songs and rhymes is clearly doing a lot better than the make and takes for the Every Child Ready to Read. So if we were to make any more videos in the future, it would probably just be to fill out the category of songs and rhymes. In the initial launch, we made 20 of those videos, songs and rhymes videos, and I'm hoping that we can make maybe 30 more to kind of complete the resource. I would be wary of making a video collection as an ongoing project with goals to make a certain number of videos per quarter or something like that. It's a fairly time-consuming endeavor, so having a concrete goal that you can accomplish is great. And we've also had some interesting requests that we may explore, such as a parent who asked us to demo reading books so that they can practice dialogic reading with their little ones. And we know that digital content could never replace our in-person work, but creating tools that supplement our programs and reach more people is a really great way to position your library as knowledgeable, current, and able to meet people where they're at. So I've included a blooper reel in the next slide, which just goes to show you kind of what it was like to make this project and how fun it was. I really highly recommend for anyone that's interested. Let's go.
I'm ready for my close-up. Here we go. Sorry.
Hello, meet my son.
Sorry, I had to, sorry. I got all slobbery. Okay.
Hi, welcome to Vancouver Public Library's The Roots of Reading. Talking and singing with your baby throughout the day
How many people have kissed this raccoon? Oh, sorry. I'm smiling. You can play sorting games with these felts or count the numbers of points or sides. Also, you can do this simple rhyme based on the book Brown Bear by Bill Martin Jr. Red circle, what do you see? I see a yellow triangle. Sorry, that's not a triangle. That's a fucking rectangle.
All right, so I hope that you enjoyed that. If you do have any questions or you're thinking about doing this for yourself or for your own library system, definitely reach out to me. Shoot me any questions that you have. This is my contact info at VPL, and honestly, I would be happy to help. There's a lot of things that can go wrong and a lot of things that I wish I had someone there to ask questions to when I was doing it. So truly feel free to reach out to me at any time. And that is the end of my presentation. So I will turn it back over to Annette.
That was awesome, Jen. Thank you so much for sharing both your expertise and your experience with BCLA members and the larger library community. It's really appreciated. To those of you watching today, please visit the BCLA website. It's at www.bclaconnect.ca, and there you'll find information about additional virtual sessions in the BC Summer Reading, no, not the Summer Reading Club, the BC Summer Conference Series. Thank you very much.